questions about your financial?
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh,
Do you see that there are more people who want to be admitted?
okay. Do you have questions about your financial future? The amount of information about financial services and products can be overwhelming. This presentation strives to reduce the confusion that often arises when researching financial products and services, minimizing the mystery that surrounds planning to offer a simpler, smarter way to make decisions about your financial future. This is a particularly fortuitous time for us to get together, as the markets have seen increased volatility caused by geopolitical issues, a global pandemic, inflation, and rising interest rates. Your individual decisions will derive from your own priorities, but some strategies which you will see are so common as to be almost universal. Recognize that market declines are inevitable and resist the temptation to sway from your investment plan in the face of inevitable pullbacks. Cheryl.
Okay, it's as simple as 2, 3, 4. The 2, 3, 4 approach includes 2 pyramids, 3 buckets, and 4 boxes. These 3 coordinated concepts will help guide you through the processes that most people find mysterious and confusing: financial analysis, portfolio allocation, and product choices. We're going to emphasize the fundamentals and address the question of how can we make the best financial decisions. Pyramids, please. Thank you. The 2 pyramids. What goals do you want to achieve? The 2 pyramids help coordinate the concepts of strategies with quantifiable goals and deadlines. Keep quantifiable in mind. Portfolio modeling and asset allocation, and selecting suitable products. As we see in this slide of the pyramids, strategy is foundational. And to create a strategy, we need to identify our goals. What are your goals? What would you like to achieve financially? Stability, what does that mean to you? For many people, it's being able to maintain your current or aspired standard of living, irrespective of market volatility or its causes. As you can see in the upside down triangle, a common error is not to have a clear picture of your strategy. So it's not foundational. It won't provide you with a solid base. So what we're going to do is help to flesh out and identify those tools to help you achieve financial goals. The strategy, back to the strategy, identifies your goals both specifically and flexibly, and then it'll help you to determine your portfolio. And once you have that, we fill in the products into your portfolio. Your strategy includes identifying your financial goals, and as a crucial part of planning, identify what can go wrong and what you can do to protect yourself before it happens. Realize where you're vulnerable to downside risks of several sorts, and plan how to protect yourself and your family. Risk is an inherent part of life, and every day we manage risks without even thinking about it. Before we cross the road, we look both ways to see if a car is coming. Financially, it can be risky to hold too much cash because the value of cash won't appreciate in years, and you're going to get hit by rising prices. This is risk masquerading as safety. Don't let yourself be fooled. So you need to identify those risks, decide which risks to assume, which to mitigate, and which to transfer, and we'll explain this. Realize that when done right and your strategy is established, the portfolio and its products will follow logically. Joseph, back to you.
The 3 buckets for your distinct time horizons: short, intermediate, and long term. Short term would be anything within 3 years. Examples of this would be having an emergency cash fund or money that you will need to purchase a home or a car in the near future. Intermediate term would be something between 3 to 10 years. Examples of this would be investments, including mutual funds and managed advisory accounts. Long-term investments would be more than 10 years out. Examples of this would be life and long-term care insurance, 401k, and other retirement account contributions. 4 boxes. Will taxes impact when you can achieve your goals? The 4 boxes we will review in later slides. We will go over what comprises these boxes and cover the question of taxes, how both to manage tax consequences and deploy what is tax advantageous. Cheryl.
Okay. Back to the pyramids, this time in detail. A quickly conceived strategy is going to be wobbly, as you can see on the upside down pyramid. It's not foundational. For a strategy to be successful, your goals need to be quantifiable. There's that word again. Strategy. Likened here to chess with the chess piece, that's the knight. Building a comprehensive or focused strategy with quantifiable goals and deadlines, portfolios. Define your goals. Define the timeline for your goals as well as the risks you're willing to take, then build a portfolio allocation to meet these objectives. Product. Shopping and analyzing a crowded marketplace for products that can best fit your modeled portfolio. Okay, what are your goals? For example, do you want the option to retire in 15 years and maintain your standard of living? Do you want to take off a year during your working life to travel the world? How much will that cost? Or do you have 3 kids whose college education will need to be paid up in 10 and 14 and 18 years respectively? What do you need to do now in order to be able to pay for it then? Or I want to pay off my mortgage and eliminate all debt so I have the financial autonomy to work as I please, or not work, or semi-retire. Even if the categories fit almost universally for so many people, the particulars will be unique to you. In discussing strategy, there's that chess piece. Strategy is chess. I'd like to continue to discuss risk avoidance, as that's the first step in protecting yourself and your assets. When I point out that you need to know what you need, this includes more than accumulating money. It's also recognizing the downside and that not all risks are as easy to mitigate as looking both ways before you cross the street. What are the risks that you may be vulnerable to? As another simple example, when you get in your car, you automatically fasten your seat belts, and we're not even addressing that it's illegal not to. Here's another. When you own a house or rent one, you almost always take out fire insurance. Why take out fire insurance? Because it's much cheaper and much simpler to pay insurance premium than to build or buy an entire new house if your first one burns down. By taking out fire insurance, you have transferred the risk to an insurance company. Even if you could liquidate enough of your assets to buy a house or provide yourself with a hefty down payment, who would want to do that when you can protect yourself from a literal fire sale? Especially, might there be an outstanding mortgage on your house that just burnt to the ground? As you know, a house can be a highly valuable asset as well as your home. And this is why we protect it by taking out fire insurance. It's pretty clear cut. As a matter of fact, if you ask them, some people will say that their house is their most valuable asset. But I beg to differ. For many working people, their most valuable financial asset is their ability to earn a living. Looking ahead over the years to all the income that you're going to earn. You make plans, you accumulate cash for emergencies, and then invest wisely. Yes, this is foundational. But what if something terrible happens? What if you become sick? What if you're injured and you can't walk and you can't work? What if you're walking in New York and you get hit on the head by a falling geranium pot? How long could you live on your savings? Luckily, this is another risk that you can transfer to an insurance company, as you did by owning fire insurance. When I first came into this business, the first thing I got myself was a disability income insurance policy. If I became disabled from long COVID, from MS, from an injury, and I couldn't work, the insurance company would be sending me checks every month to replace my lost income. And these are what really happened to my real clients, some of my real clients. These policies are flexible contracts that you can tailor to your own specifications, but the bottom line is this will keep the checks coming in if your earned income stops. The moral of the story, if you can't afford the risk of loss, transfer the risk to another party. Joseph, can you slide us down to the next slide, please? These are the 3 buckets in details. Financial goals can be broken into 3 general categories: short, intermediate, and long-term goals, which Joseph addressed. And once discrete needs for each bucket are defined, various issues such as liquidity, product charges, investment flexibility, and taxation become important in the choice of the appropriate financial instruments to fund your different needs. These allocations, these needs are going to change over the course of your life at different stages of time. For instance, your long-term bucket, is that for retirement? Usually, not necessarily. Looking at the short-term bucket, this is your anytime money. This is not subject to market volatility. It's available anytime. It's there immediately when you want it. You use this bucket to pay bills, and it includes an emergency fund. Usually it's funded by current income. For this to work for you, you quantify, there's that word again, approximately how much you need each month to maintain your current standard of living. Again, you need to know what you need. Irrespective of your closing that sale next week or not closing that sale, if there's war, if there's market volatility, how much do you need, rain or shine, to pay your bills? Take that amount, the total of your monthly fixed expenses, multiply it by 6 for 6 months worth of bills, and there's your emergency fund. If you're more conservative, make it 9 months. Then everything over that is gravy. Your happy discretionary expenses, theater, dining, vacation, gifts. This bucket is for your current enjoyment. Step back a half a step to more effectively fund this short-term bucket. You need to eliminate or reduce your credit card debt if you have any, because this can prevent you from accruing funds into this bucket or the other buckets. Do yourself a favor, pay your credit card bills, pay your credit card debt as often as you can, as much as you can. Don't pay the minimum each month, and feel free to make ad hoc payments in between billing cycles. Okay, now that you have eliminated or reduced your credit card debt, in the intermediate box, you've got more of your enjoyable goals there. This is the bucket from which you can buy a house, from which you can, a second house, from which you can buy a boat, take another vacation, pay for a wedding, gift your kids money so that they can have a down payment for a house. And once again, long-term is probably for retirement, but fill in your own blanks. The long-term bucket, the third bucket, also contains funds for any legacy you'd like to establish for your ongoing philanthropic bequests. This can continue to pay the charities and the nonprofits that you currently support. Okay, back to Joseph. You're going to talk about life insurance.
Yes, thank you, Cheryl. Life insurance, why is it important? Well, it allows family protection against the loss of an income-producing family member, a tax-free death benefit to beneficiaries, and depending on the type of life insurance, the following may also be available: cash value accumulation, investment growing tax deferred. You may be able to borrow against or have distributions tax-free from the policy. Very similar to a Roth IRA, but without many of the limitations of the Roth IRA. You may also consider getting a life insurance to fund college for the children, mortgage or debt repayment, or you may also consider a special needs trust to care for a special needs child. Charitable giving. Why not give that donations to a charity that then uses those funds to pay for a life insurance policy on the life of you as the donor, and with the beneficiary being the charity? This way, the donation you've made is, of course, still tax deductible, but leverages your donation to a much higher amount in the future.
Traditionally, most life insurance is owned for family protection to provide survivors with funds to maintain their standard of living. But believe it or not, I have heard more than once from men that they don't want to take out life insurance because they don't want to enrich their wife's next husband. But it doesn't often work like that. The proceeds of the policy might just make her whole, your widow whole, because the cost of end-of-life care can be very expensive and rapidly draw down on those retirement assets. However, if you're truly concerned about not enriching your wife's next husband, you can make the beneficiary of your life insurance policy a marital trust. In this way, it's a trustee who will be dispersing income every month to your wife and your family so that they'll be neither impoverished nor enriched, and they can live comfortably in whatever means you think is comfortable. Back to Joseph.
Thank you, Cheryl. As noted, the long-term bucket contains the funds or insurance to fund the cost of long-term care. Do you know anyone who requires home health care, assisted living, or nursing care? If you don't properly fund for this emergency, no matter how well diversified your portfolio is, no matter how well allocated your investments are, the cost of long-term care can strip mine your assets. More than 70% of adults over the age of 60 will require some type of long-term care assistance at some point in their lives. Long-term care is not covered by health insurance or the government unless you're extremely poor. The cost of coverage can be $100,000 to $150,000 per year or more. That is enough to devastate any family nest egg. Best not to rely on friends or family to take care of you. Many of our male clients say they don't need long-term care because they will rely on their spouse to take care of them. But then when you ask the spouse, they have no intention to or ability to provide that type of care. Best to find this out early rather than later. Many of our clients have also stated that if they ever need to go into a nursing home, they will shoot themselves. That is not a plan. Both Cheryl and I have heard our clients say this. Regarding long-term care, if you are slightly older, what is the risk you will need some kind of coverage? No, your kids won't abide by your request to shoot you rather than move you into an assisted living or nursing home. But the financial risk can be extraordinary. So considering transferring part or most of this risk to an insurance company will be helpful. It's not all or nothing. The four boxes help explain the concept of how taxation impacts various types of financial instruments. While you're saving and accumulating, when you start distributing and spending accumulated funds. Do you know what the largest expense in your lifetime will be? The answer is taxes. What if you could find a way legally to not pay any taxes on your investment gains? What if you could defer paying taxes until after age 59 and a half? To address these what ifs and help you decide what products to own, here's a rule of thumb to gauge your tolerance for risk. Are you more uncomfortable holding equities when the market goes down or holding cash when the market goes up? Your answers may be influenced by how soon you need your money, including when you want to retire and your genetic makeup. If you are a fundamentally anxious person or have a fundamentally sanguine outlook on life, or even a slightly reckless outlook, we can help you plan within these frames of reference. But in either case, how do you keep from allowing your emotions from impairing your decisions, such as buying when the market is high or selling when the market is down? Don't let market volatility deter you from maintaining your strategy. Question, does anyone know what the highest historical tax rate has been in the United States? Please respond in the chat box if you think you know the answer. The highest income tax rate has been 91%. Yes, 91%. Hard to believe, but those are the rates that were implemented in the 1940s. It makes our current highest marginal tax rate of 37% seem like a relative bargain. Another question, can anyone guess whether income tax rates will increase or decrease in the future? Given the current federal deficits and the low rates of Social Security and Medicare system funding, there is no doubt that we will all be paying a much higher tax rate in the future. With this in mind, does it perhaps make sense to consider investing in tax advantageous investment buckets? Let's take a look at the four boxes. Box one, after tax contributions, tax during accumulation. Examples are bank accounts, CDs, money markets. Box number two, after tax contributions, not taxed during accumulation, taxable at distribution. Those would be annuities, US bonds, non-deductible IRAs. Box number three, pre-tax contributions, not taxed during accumulation, taxable at distribution. That would be 401ks, SEP IRAs, and pension plans. And then there's box number four, after tax contributions, not taxed during accumulation, not taxable at distributions. And that would be Roth IRAs, some life insurance policies, 529 college savings plans, some municipal bonds. Cheryl and I, when suitable, can help you shift more of your investments towards the non-taxable box four. Just a side note on 529 plans. Starting in 2022, New Jersey will offer a state tax deduction of up to $10,000 per taxpayer per year for contributions to a New Jersey 529 plan. You must have a gross income of $200,000 or less. The government has given us a wonderful tool in which to invest with the creation years ago of SEP IRAs. Your contributions are based on your self-employed income, are deductible, and they grow tax deferred until we take withdrawals. Yes, we, because they are part of my portfolio and probably Cheryl's as well. Now, talk to your accountant who calculates how much you can deduct and contribute. contribution limits can be as high as $61,000. Depending on your age and income, the government has also given us another retirement savings tool, Roth IRA. If you are making up to $129,000 a year, you can open and fund a Roth IRA. If you are married and filing jointly and making up to $204,000, you can each fund a Roth IRA. Contribution limits are $6,000 per year if you're under age 50, $7,000 per year if you're 50 or older. The tax advantage of Roth IRAs is they are funded with after-tax dollars, but grow tax deferred. And when you take the withdrawals, they are tax-free. There's no requirement to actually take out the distributions if you don't need the money. And now, whether it's a SEP IRA, a Roth IRA, or a regular non-IRA money, it's into what do you invest? Once again, this decision is based on your time horizon and your tolerance for risk. Do you want to retire in 5 years or 25? Or like me, never. This is where the art and psychology come in. How to choose from so many investment choices. Perhaps you want to buy a hot new stock or help your kids invest in outer space companies. When you invested and the market goes down, what is your reaction? Of course, markets go down. They go up and down, and you cannot time the market. Know yourself, your cash flow, your expenses, and your obligations. In considering these obligations, do you have people dependent on your income? Children, spouses, partners, parents? If you predecease your family when they are dependent on your income, make sure you have enough life insurance. If you want to manage the risk of a volatile equity market, you can dollar cost average your investing by setting up a systematic monthly contribution. This way, you buy more shares when the market is low and fewer when the market is high. Make investing a habit, like brushing your teeth. It's automatic. No need to decide or think about it. In these two slides, we're going to look at an example of someone who's putting away $10,000 a year for 30 years at a 6% rate of return. And they're assuming a 24% tax bracket and a 6% distribution rate. So in the first box, after tax contributions, taxable during accumulation, non-taxable at distribution, your first year account value would be $7,632 because of the taxes on the money that you're putting in. You would end up in 30 years with $489,000. In the second box, again, it's after tax contributions, non-taxable during accumulation, and taxable at distribution. In this example, because there's no taxes during accumulation, your investment has grown to $538,000 at the end of 30 years. And this is assuming, again, $10,000 per year is being put in. The third box, pre-tax contributions, non-taxable during accumulation, taxable at distribution. You'll have $10,600 in year one, and that will grow to $637,000 after 30 years. In box number 4, after tax contributions, non-taxable during accumulation, non-taxable at distribution. In this example, you start out with less, $7,632, and you will end up, coincidentally, with the same $637,000 at the end of 30 years. However, this money is completely tax-free. So that's the equivalent of roughly about $800,000 of taxable balance. So it just shows the differences depending on which box you invest in.
Okay, back to me. The results of 234, using these concepts together, can help you to select the appropriate products in terms of taxation, risk orientation, charges, flexibility, and liquidity. This will help you to properly allocate or reallocate your portfolio in light of modern portfolio theory, and it will help you to increase the probability of reaching your financial goals that you've established for yourself, your family, and your business. In the middle point, do you see in light of modern portfolio theory? That theory is the practical method for selecting investments in order to maximize their overall returns within an acceptable level of risk, what we have been discussing. This theory was pioneered by the economist Harry Markowitz, and he won the Nobel Prize for this theory. Okay, now, Joseph, could you take us back to the 4 boxes? I'm going to look at number 2 there. Okay, great. Those 4 boxes. Under number 2, do you see annuities? I'd like to take a moment and reintroduce you to annuities. And I say reintroduce because annuities have been so long established in financial planning that they're referred to in the novels of Jane Austen, who wrote in the early 19th century. In her time and now, annuities mean a guaranteed stream of income that you will never outlive. Nowadays, luckily, we also have Social Security, but that's probably not going to be sufficient on its own. And an annuity can help supplement that. Together, they can do what pensions used to do, but fewer and fewer people have pensions. Happily, we are self-employed, and annuities are where we can create our own pensions. In addition to providing a lifetime of predictable income in the future, in modern times, we also have new kinds of annuities that have been created to provide other kinds of benefits, including tax-deferred market investing, which is great for that long-term bucket. You can get a tax-deferred fixed income rate, and your contract, these are new. These are interesting and new, where you can invest in the markets, but you also have the downside risk protection. Downside when the markets drop. For example, if the S&P 500 drops 12% and you have a contract with a buffer of 10%, you'll only be down 2%. Look, these kinds of annuities are specialty contracts, and Joseph and I will be happy to discuss them with you individually, but this presentation must necessarily be more general. But understand that there are a number of ways to construct these annuities that are suitable and beneficial to you and your families. It's a traditional and a modern tool for risk management. Now, what might you need this kind of guarantee for? Look around. People are living into their 90s and 100s, and the risk that annuities can mitigate is the risk of longevity, outliving your money, a terrifying prospect. Regarding longevity and retirement, people are living longer than ever, and you may be funding a 35-year retirement, or you might be working longer than you wanted to, or longer than you hoped to, if you don't have enough money for your 35-year retirement, or even your 25-year retirement. Okay, let's revisit the goals. You want to buy a house, you want to put kids through college, retire comfortably, but continue to remember that the other side of this vision is, what if? What if you need to support your parents? What if you need to support your children longer than you anticipated? How long could your assets hold out? The big ifs surrounding financial planning are protecting the downside as well as maximizing the upside with the best investments for you. In the past 2 years, we've been living in a global pandemic, And this showed many of us that we have to navigate a new normal. And we, Joseph and I, can help you put together a sound plan for retirement and create financial predictability within your level of risk. No bad surprises if we can help it. Here's a wider kind of financial planning. Make sure you have a will. You don't want your family to experience anything but grief if you predecease them. Don't give them cause to be unsure of how you want your assets and your possessions distributed, because all of these can cause delays in the distribution as well as costing them money. Make sure all your beneficiaries are up to date so that when people marry, divorce, remarry, have children, these transitions can be smooth. Make sure you have a trusted person in your life who knows all your passwords, knows your accountant, knows your lawyer, knows your mortgage holder, has access to your checking account to continue to pay your bills, knows where you keep the key to your safe deposit box and which bank your safe deposit box is in. Let these family members know us if we work with you. If you have young children, consider whom you want as their guardians in the event of a tragedy. Make sure you have a healthcare proxy so that if you need medical care, someone can make medical decisions on your behalf, knowing your preferences if you're unable to do so. This person should live reasonably local to you. Now here,
I'm sorry. Cheryl, are you there? Hello? We may have lost Cheryl. Okay. Alicia, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so it's possible we may have lost Cheryl. I'm just going to continue to my slide.
Yep. And just to let you know, it's 12:45, but we still have time.
Yep. Where do we go from here? Do it yourself, work with others, work with us. Don't procrastinate. Timing is important. And does anyone have any questions? Please use the chat feature to ask your questions or unmute yourselves and ask by the mic. You can always email us if you would prefer to ask any confidential questions. Okay. Sounds like there's no questions.
Nope, there's a question in here.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's a long one from Elizabeth, if you want to read over it.
Let's see. I don't see it. I'm not sure where I would see it.
No, in the chat, if you click chat, it says it's to everyone, so everyone should have got that.
If I go to chat, okay. As a real estate agent, how should I track my income and expenses? On a cash or accrual basis? And what are some ways to budget with a fluctuating income? Okay, that's a good question. I myself, I've worked as a real estate agent, as a referral agent, and as a self-employed individual. I track my expenses on a cash basis. It's the most simple way to do that. But you should check with your accountant to see if he sees any advantages to doing an accrual basis. I would say 95% of people are fine with the cash flow, cash basis. Oh, there's Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl, are you there? You'll need to unmute yourself. Back to your question, what are some of the ways to budget with a fluctuating income? So as Cheryl had mentioned during her presentation, that you should figure out what your must-have bills that you need to pay, your mortgage, rent, your car payments, food, cable bills. These things have to absolutely be paid every month. And so therefore, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to cover that regardless of whether your real estate deal closes or not, right? And that's going to be important also to know that you have enough of a cushion saved, let's say 6 to 9 months of your base expenses in a liquid bank account, accessible to you just in case that deal doesn't close and you know you need to cover those bills. So I can certainly help you. Many of my clients, what they'll do, I'll give them a spreadsheet that helps them to budget by month. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Sorry. Yeah. Definitely. So use the same method as the emergency fund, basically. So just go by that. So you're saying.
So you want to keep.
So I guess my thing is, okay, so once I have my emergency fund, because
I'm sorry, you broke up.
there seems to be an echo where I'm at. It sounds kind of echoey, so I'll mute myself.
Okay, I mean, if you want, you can always contact me separately to help you with that. Yep, not a problem. I see another question here. I recently left my job to become a full-time real estate agent. Besides health insurance and life insurance coverage, is there another type of insurance coverage I may be missing? Yes, I would say disability coverage would be important. For example, if you get hurt, maybe your health insurance can cover you, or if you're, God forbid, you pass away, life insurance will protect your family. But there's a higher likelihood that you will become disabled and not be able to work than you are of passing away. Okay, so it's important to look at having that disability income coverage that, let's say you're making $100,000 a year, you're now disabled for a year or more, and having that disability coverage will allow you to get monthly checks up to about, I believe it's about 65% of your annual income. They will continue to pay, and they can cover you up to age 65 with that kind of coverage. So disability income is important. What do you think it would be? When do you think it would be a good idea to transfer all the properties from my name to LLC? And what are the tax advantages of doing so? So the LLC, the primary reason you would want to have an LLC is really to protect you in the event of any lawsuits. We're in a very litigious environment, and people will sue you just for a minor traffic accident. And they'll come after you personally. And if your properties are not in a LLC, they can take that from you. It has happened. So that's the primary reason I would put something into an LLC. Okay. Tax advantages, they are very similar to just having holding it even in your name. you're still getting the same tax advantages in terms of expenses that you can write off and how you treat the income. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all for participating. We look forward to working with you and helping you to construct your own benefits package. Just a reminder, all conversations are confidential. We are both fiduciaries and act in the best interests of our clients. You will be receiving an evaluation form that will be distributed to you shortly. Feel free to use us as a resource for any financial questions you may have. Have a wonderful day.
I can't focus.
Thank you. We're good.
Okay, thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.
All right, well,
Bye.
what happened to Cheryl? I hope she's okay.
I know, I don't know.
All right, take care.
Thank you again. Have a great weekend.